You didn't even wash your hands. Hey, I'm Austin.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is the Spring Chat.
Where we talk all things Disney.
Resorts.
Shopping. Food. You can catch us at 8:30 on Thursday nights on
Facebook. YouTube.
Twitch, and now Spotify on Amplified Network.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us here at the Amplified Network. Your show will begin in just a few minutes, but first I want to go on ahead and shout out to our awesome sponsors. First, we have the Mouse Merch Box. It is an official Disney subscription box. It is $60 quarterly if you subscribe, or $70 per box. It's going to come with $120 to $150 worth of exclusive Disney apparel and merchandise, so definitely check that out. If you do decide that you want to check them out, we do have a coupon code for you. Coupon code is going to be Springs20 for 20% off of your order. Next, we have the Great Adventure Supply Company. Great Adventure Supply Company is really cool. They have a bunch of 80s and 90s themed pop culture themed Disney and theme park apparel. So if you're like me, you miss the 90s, you love that style. They recently released some new exciting additions to their store. Be sure to check them out. And we also have a coupon code for the Great Adventure Supply Company. That's going to be Magic15 for 15% off of your order. So thank you so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate you and our sponsors. So stay tuned here on the Amplified Network. Your show will be coming up soon.
What's up, America?
Heyo.
How are we doing?
We're live, and it's rainy.
It's rainy today. So you may see something a little bit different. I'm not Tony, even though my name's Anthony. I am not the Tony that typically does this with you. Tony is dealing with a family issue, so thoughts and prayers with him and his family. But
Love you, man.
Love you, buddy. But doesn't mean that we can't keep a show going. And he's given me his blessing to step in and fill in for him. Is that cool with you?
We're all a family here.
Yeah, totally. So, Tafari, I know you guys were supposed to cover Toy Story 4 this week.
Great movie, I'll say, because I'm a nostalgia nut. It pulled at some heartstrings and hurt me many, many times. But I'm a thug, so I didn't cry, just on the inside.
I'm a thug. I'm pretty sure that's a song, right?
Yeah, I went and saw it. My friend was like in tears at the end. I'm just like, that's sad, but I'm not going to do that.
So, yeah.
We'll get on to that next week. But for now, if you want to introduce them to what we have going on today.
So for today, we kind of had to throw something together, because it was the last minute decision. So, because this is a Theatergoers show, and we talk about all things that are movies and theater, I wanted to kind of break down some of your favorite directors, your top 3 favorite directors, and then your top 3 actors or actresses. So we're not going to do separate, but we're going to do your top 3 of actors and actresses, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So let's go back and forth. So you don't do your whole list, and then I do my whole list, and then we're kind of screwed at the end. So give us time to kind of go that way. So I'll let you go first, man. This is your show. Let's go with directors.
Top.
So just. Probably your number 3. We'll save the.
My number 3. I'm gonna go on the documentary side and give that to Ava DuVernay. I just saw When They See Us, and that was deep. She also did 13th, and I'm blank. She's had a lot of documentary and history type projects from recent things that have happened, and her work has just been phenomenal. It is. I've watched. You watched a history class. Oh, that's sad. Her stuff is like a gut punch every time you watch it, and she just. Every project she has hit lately just impresses me to the fullest.
Yeah. What other projects? You said a couple, but what are those movies about?
So When They See Us is a Netflix series that is out right now. It's 4 hour-long episodes. It's about the Central Park Five kids who were in a park out of 20. A woman was raped on the opposite side of the park, and these 5 kids are basically forced into lying on each other when they'd never even met. What else? They were forced to basically convict themselves and get on camera and say that they did it, and were told they could go home. One of the kid who got the worst sentence literally went to the police station because he didn't want his friend to be by himself. Got there, was in there, got the longest sentence, was like beaten and all kinds of things. As a 16-year-old kid put in a grown man prison, every transfer he asked for to be put closer to his mom sent him to a further prison. And you just watch all 4 of their stories come down, and they served like they went in at 14 and they didn't get out until like their late 20s, early 30s.
Wow.
And you hear just each of their individual stories and the things they went through.
Wow.
And if that doesn't make you cry, Oprah does an interview with them at the end of the show. And one of the dudes, his dad's testimony basically is what got him convicted. So he held his dad as he died. And Oprah asked, like, do you ever have any have you forgiven your father? He's like, no, I hate that man. I don't care if he's dead. I didn't feel bad. And even the kids that portrayed the actors just started bawling. So Ava portrayed that story like to the fullest, didn't leave out a single detail, and it was painful to watch, man. Like, I know people who cried every episode.
Yeah, actually, the co-host of the 60-Minute Suspension, he lives in New York City right now.
Right.
And so he goes through that the park, where that happened, and he said, ever since the series has come out, people kind of walk through there with a little bit extra like emotion. Now you feel it when you walk through there. So, man, what a crazy story that is. On
a lighter note, she also did Wrinkle in Time. So if you want to go see something she did that's like happy, you can go see that. Very fun film. It was a great I've been told it was a great daddy-daughter flick. I didn't see the whole thing.
All right, cool.
So who's your 3?
So my top 3. It was hard, man. I'm not gonna lie. It was
I
so
had to go
hard.
through my archive, I had to go in my closet and was like, out of all the DVDs in my closet, I was like, which one of you guys came with me to college the most?
Right? Like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. Like, I can't even describe to you how freaking hard this was. Like, the 3 that I picked, I feel like they're a little bit generic, but they're like a part of me, man. So my first one, or I guess my third, is gonna be Christopher Nolan.
Okay, that's fair.
Christopher Nolan, like, I have an emo side to me. Like, I love punk rock. I love, hardcore music, stuff like that. And Christopher Nolan's movies, like, are just so dark, man. Like, every single movie he's done. And I got the list here. Like, starting in 1989, he did a TV short. We're not even going to worry about that one. But in 1998 was kind of his debut to the big screen, and he did The Following. After The Following, you had Memento. Now, Memento was a really good movie, really dark movie, and then Insomnia followed that one. Both of those movies were just...
What was Insomnia about?
Insomnia was the one... Was that the one with Christian Bale where he got really, really scared? Or was... I think that was it. That was the one where... yeah. No, Insomnia was Robin Williams and Al Pacino.
I was thinking of a different movie.
That's right.
It was one
I remember this one.
There was one I watched for a film class where a dude has short-term memory, but he can't make new memories. And that's
Memento. That's Memento.
That's what
Memento was the first one.
We watched Memento in a film class, and apparently there's different copies of it you can buy.
Yeah.
Well, like the movie plays out of order, but you can buy like an in-order version, and you can play like 2 different editions of the film.
Yeah.
And that was like one of the few films we watched where I'm like, I kind of want to see how this plays. And then like the end, it kind of starts or ends how it begins with you find out the guy's been like toying with him the whole time. Was crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts, man.
And then it would just cut to scenes like, why am I running?
Man.
Am I chasing this guy?
Right, I don't know what I'm doing with my body.
Me? And then, like when he was helping the girl, she was like, that dude beat me up. And then they play it back and like, what? Like, I felt bad for her. And then 15 minutes later, even the dude at the hotel, he's like, you're just going to forget anyway.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so Memento.
So then Memento, and then this is where he actually starts breaking out. He starts the Batman Begins series. So Batman Begins, everyone remembers that one. He wrote the screenplay for that. Incredible movie. Great stuff there. He goes on. He does The Prestige, the magic movie. That was the one with... I
feel like I know what that is.
It was the one with Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale, and they were magicians. and one of them was trying to outplay the other. It gets a little sci-fi on you.
I feel like I've seen it, but it has been a while.
Yeah, he gives a little sci-fi on you because the guy's basically trying to teleport from one place to the other.
Right.
But the other, so like Christian Bale, and I know I'm spoiling a little bit, but
Spoiler
Christian
alert,
Bale,
we do that here.
Christian Bale's character basically is twins. And so, like, the whole magician trick is, he goes from point A to point B, and people are like, whoa, how do you do that? That's crazy. But basically, the twins live the same life their entire life. So whenever they switch, that guy now takes the place of this life. And so it's crazy, dude. Like, he has kids, he has a wife, right? The original guy has a wife, but then when they do the trick, like, he has to switch lives because he can't give up his secret.
I think there's a movie out called
It's crazy.
What Happened on Monday or something. That's kind of like the same thing. It's like 4 girls living as one person.
Yeah. Crazy stuff, man.
It's some crazy futuristic sci-fi movie.
And then, you got more Batman. You got The Dark Knight, which is literally... It's like my top 2 or 3 favorite movie of all time.
The Dark Knight was like the first film of his I actually saw.
The Dark Knight was awesome.
That was like that was the rage 8th grade. Like everyone went to go see The Dark Knight like multiple. Like I completely forgot about Batman Begins. It wasn't bad. It didn't capture my attention. The Dark Knight I like more than The Dark Knight Rises.
Like, The Dark Knight was by far the best one out of all of them.
Had Joker.
Yeah, Heath Ledger.
Had Heath Ledger been able to continue, it would have been great. But
oh my gosh, it would have been incredible.
They had to write him off and throw Bane in with that story, and it worked out great. But something about The Dark Knight just has even as a movie by itself has just such replayability.
Then you keep going down the list. You have Inception, which is basically the mind thriller with, what's the name? Leonardo.
Do we have a confirmed ending for that? If he's
no. Yeah, it's totally up for
still. That is just completely up.
Yeah.
That was a huge argument in school.
That was the whole point of it. Then you have The Dark Knight Rises, Interstellar. If you never saw Interstellar, man, you want to talk about a mind trip.
That was trippy.
You want to talk about a mind trip, man. Go see that one because that was ridiculous. And then Dunkirk was probably his most recent one. It was his most recent one. And then he's got this new one he's working on right now. He's filming called Tenet. I'm really not sure what it's about. But we'll find out, man. And I guarantee I'm gonna go see it because it's gonna be freaking awesome. No, the new Batman. I don't think he's in it. I think that was just. Oh no, he is in it. Yeah, Robert Pattinson's in it. Aaron Taylor Johnson. You don't know who that is? Do you know who that is? He's.
If you show me a face, I probably would recognize it.
He's the guy from.
I know that face, and I'm
Kick-Ass.
Okay,
he's the Kick-Ass superhero. Yeah, dude's ripped, man.
Is he?
He is freaking cut, man. Oh my gosh, crazy. But yeah, great stuff. So
you know who else is ripped right now that trips me out? The actor who played Chris Rock and everyone hates Chris, Tyler James Williams. He's like shredded, and it trips me out because he was such a scrawny, feeble kid for his entire career on that show. But moving on.
Yeah. So you're next. So you're second.
All right. What my second? I had photo. I'm gonna go with F. Gary Gray. And that's not saying F. Gary Gray. His name is actually F. Gary Gray.
All right.
So
you have to explain that one to me.
This is the guy who did recently, if I have it pulled up, where are his things? This is the guy who did Friday. If you haven't seen it. He did.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but he did Fate of the Furious. He did Straight Outta Compton, The Italian Job, The Negotiator,
Wow.
Men in Black International, which was more recent, Law Abiding Citizen, Set It Off, Sea of Trees, Murder Was the Case, Be Cool, and A Man Apart. These are like his top films. So, he started like doing like the Hollywood hood flicks Friday, which honestly didn't do that well money-wise, but now they've made more money in royalties than they did on the actual film because they only shot in a month, and I think everyone got paid like $5,000 for that movie, they said, and then it got turned into millions when they shot the second and third. So that took his career off, but then when you look at the other stuff he shot, like still haven't like start to finish seen Straight Outta Compton, but that movie was phenomenal for the chunks of it that
really
I saw.
Good. No, it was a really good movie. I watched that movie. Really, really good.
And then I didn't see Fate of the Furious, but that one I heard did well. Italian Job was great. Men in Black International for like just the weird sci-fi film that it was. I thoroughly enjoyed it. People might be critics. Oh, Will Smith and yes, we're moving on. This is like the extended MCU of the Men in Black universe, but I think he did a good job. Like taking Thor and Valkyrie and putting them in this whole different scenario. And then Law Abiding Citizen. I don't know if you
Oh
guys remember,
my
that
gosh.
was such a
What?
like I love
Came out of nowhere.
Like I love movies like that where they
No
play,
one saw that
they
movie.
play so many mind games with each
Yeah.
other. Like movies
So
like
he's
that.
like sitting in the cell by himself, and he's like, "How could I do it? I've been here this whole time."
Yeah,
like,
and you start to think, okay, he's got to be doing this, but we haven't seen him leave,
Yeah.
and then you find out the plot twist at the like when he got the girl with the cell phone.
dude,
That's when I got into the movie. And I was like,
man.
this dude, because he was right. Like you understand, they're both coming from a right place. He is trying to do right by his job. The other dude is a victim. He lost his wife and kid. So and then those two, the mind game they play in that whole movie was just like trying to convict each other or trying to feel like who the real bad guy is. And then this dude is taking everyone from criminals to judges, and then shit gets insane.
It's crazy, dude. Absolutely crazy.
So
Yeah.
he can do anything from action to sci-fi to historical, straight out of Compton to just out there funny, hilarious movies. So who's your second?
Oh, so director. Okay, so this is my second, and only because he basically molded my childhood, and I'm just a massive nerd because of this gentleman, Mr. George Lucas. Mr. George, whatever middle initial Lucas, whatever that middle initial is. Does it give it to me? No. So yeah, George Lucas is my favorite director. Whether you think he's good or not, that's up for interpretation. At the end of the day, this is entertainment. So
Yeah.
I don't think there is a judgment for best in the world. And George Lucas, basically, if you can understand, he literally created a movie that should have been made 15 years before, like after its time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he created this whole world out of small prosthetics.
I think we studied that in our film class of how ahead of its time because I remember when I was little and the Phantom Menace came out and they had the VHS full box sets of the prequels, and then it was like I remember people confused like, why are we calling it 4, 5, and 6? I thought it was just Star Wars, like what is it? New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and The Last Jedi. Why are we number? And now I get it. Okay, this is a prequel, and we already knew what was going to happen. And then those came out of like their collector box sets, and we studied in my film class of philosophy and film how ahead of its time Star Wars was, and that's why it was so phenomenal, and why it broke like box office records because he took something that was so. I don't. Does it say on his IMDb what his first movie was?
It was a.
It's like THX 1130. It's something.
Yeah,
1138.
it was something wild.
THX 1130. We watched that as for our philosophy and film. And honestly, if you watch that as his first movie, you understand how that birthed Star Wars because it takes place in this weird post-apocalyptic futuristic society where they have like an empire that controls these people. And they've thrown like little hints in there. Like when you play the Force Unleashed video games, the second game is arguing whether or not you're the actual character, you're a clone. And one of the clones that like was in the trailers is clone 1138 that you end up, I think, fighting at the end of the game. So he does like little nods to all his properties, which is cool. But Star Wars, how far apart did like the prequels come?
It had to be at least 10 years.
I would say
it was a little bit more than 10
like
years.
a decade apart.
But it wasn't just Star Wars. Like he created Indiana Jones also, and that became its own trilogy, its own storyline. I am not a fan of the later ones.
I was going to say I didn't.
But the original
my
trilogy,
first film that I sat through start to finish was The Crystal Skull, and apparently everyone hated it.
Yeah, the original three are by far some of the best I've ever seen, and just an adventure film. Just like those, where you run off into the forest, find the girl, save the treasure, whatever. I probably worded that wrong, but anyways,
no, but like I agree. Like I've seen so much cult because even like in the early cartoons, all the references came to Star Wars and Indiana Jones, or even the whole episodes dedicated to like doing their own telling of it.
Yeah.
And to think that movie had so much weight that they released it in 10-year like spurts and people were like lined up around blocks to go see it multiple times.
Yeah.
And then if you have Spike TV, they literally do like Star Wars reruns every Saturday and they'll play the whole thing. So
and you got to understand, when he created Star Wars, he owned it all. So like every action figure, every comic book, every book, anything that related to the characters and Star Wars logo, he made money off that. So he's probably one of the most profitable directors of all time. And then you add in, he made the deal with Disney, who they just took over full control over the Star Wars genre, Lucasfilm, stuff like that. But still, I mean, he made quite an incredible career out of just his imagination. I mean, that's literally where this all came from. And I think that's why he's one of my favorite directors, is just because he took an idea and he ran with it, and he was like, no one's stopping me. People are going to hate me for this, or, they're going to say that it's bad. But at the end of the day, man, like, he made something that has, like, it's timeless, like, literally. And it's going to be timeless for a long time, because now Disney has it, and they're not going to quit. So,
yeah, I'm like salty because what is it? They, for the new Star Wars game coming out, Disney has decided to pull an executive move and, like, limit the amount of violence that can go into it. So lightsabers now can cut anything that isn't organic, but like as far as like actual people and stuff, there's no dismemberment allowed. Like Disney came in and put a halt to production. It was like they can take damage, they can be thrown into walls, but no removal of body parts when lightsabers hit like living creatures. So a lot of fans are like pissed right now because they came in and they're like, okay, they own it, like that's fair, they have rights to do that, but it's rated like T for teen, and this is gonna be all like teenagers and adults buying this game anyway. Huh. And there was a game came out early GameCube era, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, features I don't call him a throwaway character. He's like a side character named Kyle Katarn. And one of the parts of the game that everyone loved the most was like when you hit stormtroopers, they actually lost like limbs and whatnot. It wasn't super gory, but if you threw your saber at his head, it popped off.
Huh.
So
wow,
George Lucas has just spawned a massive properties. Like even when if you were younger and you watched those early days of Toonami, which is now considered canon, by the way, there was a Star Wars The Clone Wars miniseries that was like 11-minute episodes, incredibly violent. It wasn't like super gory or anything. Touched on some like, if you look, now that I'm an adult rewatching it, you can rewatch the whole series in like 2 hours because they were that short. It introduced some characters, which if you watch the modern day Clone Wars show were introduced there. Grievous in episode 3 does not compare to General Grievous in this show. Like he's a complete badass. Like went in with an army of droids to fight like 7 Jedi, and then pulled off his army and was like, I'll do this myself. Was like holding lightsabers with his feet upside down, holding off like masters like Aayla Secura, and I'm blanking on the dude's name. One of the people who got killed in episode 3. So
yeah,
there's just a lot of fan service that comes to Star Wars, from whether you're a fan of the main properties or side properties or even any George Lucas's other films. The man is godlike in these movie streets.
Yeah, so there you go. That's my number 2. So you're number 1, sir.
You can call me typical, but I'm going to go with the good old Steven Spielberg.
It's a good one. That's a quality one. Nothing but hits.
So
his entire life.
Shoot me, but I never seen Jaws. E.T.
Oh my gosh.
Never saw the original. Saw the like beginning. Never saw the full thing. Jurassic Park. Saw Jurassic. So like when I saw Jurassic World, I'm like, this is cool. Maybe I'm just missing the hype as to how this beat the Avengers. And everyone's like, how do you not understand? Jurassic has been like the shit for the long. I'm like,
oh my
but
gosh.
It's the Avengers. So they're like, no, Jurassic deserves number 1. I'm like, maybe there's some cultural thing that I'm missing. So we got Jaws, Ready Player One, phenomenal film. Jurassic Park, AI, Artificial Intelligence, Schindler's List. Back to the Future, which I recently binged all 3 about, I started watching them in college because they all hit Netflix. Great films. Best of all time for me, though, The Goonies. That is, like, whenever we had these long-ass bus rides back from track meets or football games, we will rewatch Goonies if no one else brought a DVD with no shame whatsoever. Like, we got our coach to do the truffle shuffle once, and it was great. Like, that is one movie I'm not going to say they can't do it, but if they remake it, they have to do it correct. Like, you can't flub one line. You need to make sure everybody needs to be on code if you ever remake Goonies. So on top of that, you also had, what else? Minority Report, all the Indiana Jones, The Adventures of Tintin, Munich, Catch Me If You Can. War of the Worlds, great film, by the way. So those are just some of his top films. I've been a Spielberg fan ever since I saw Goonies in like 5th grade.
Yeah. He's incredible, man. He was actually on my list, and then I had to take him off because I was just like, one of us was going to pick him.
I
And
figured you were gonna get him or George Lucas.
I was, that was really the issue because I was like, man, I really want to say something about George. Chris Coleman, I see you talking, man. Lucas George, yeah, his real name is George Lucas. So I don't know if you knew that, but just heads up, his actual name is George the Lucas. But yeah, Steven Spielberg, man, what a stud of a director! Just nothing but hits every time he drops them. That movie 1010 was a great movie.
Was it?
It was a great movie. Yeah.
What exactly was
it was an
the
animated
plot?
movie.
I didn't understand it from the trailer.
It's based on a book, I believe, and I think the boy is a robot or something like that, and the Tinker created him. And basically, like the 1010 is like the Tinker is like a clock watch gear maker thing. I don't know. It was a great movie though. You gotta. If you like animated weird movies, not in a weird bad way, it's weird like in a good.
That were like, it was kind of like Hancock. You had to go see it to understand what was going on. The trailers could only give you so much.
Talking about the Will Smith movie?
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
it had all those things, but you never really understood the plot till you watched. And I feel like that was Tintin, and I just never made it to theaters to go see it.
Yeah,
but I know that was based off a book, World of Worlds. I don't know if it was a book or if it was a broadcast first, because in like the. What? Where is it? I'm blind, not legally.
She's trying to find the book 1010. But yeah, no, Spielberg is friggin' awesome. He's a great director.
Do you know
I mean,
what
if you
year
guys have,
the book is
guys,
dated?
please chime in. If you have a favorite director,
What year? This looks like what year? Was
so
it?
Aaron's
So this is
saying
from
John
2004.
Hannon. John Hannon
So I want to say
is
the
a
book
stud.
came out first.
Who's John Hannon? You guys are gonna have to help me out on that one. I don't know who John
that's
Hannon is.
IMDb. But no, War of the
Yeah,
Worlds.
I'm about
Fun
to look up
fact
John
that
Hannon.
in college
I don't wanna
radio, it
lose those.
started as a broadcast.
If you guys can help me out with that, yeah.
Apparently, War of the Worlds is like a radio broadcast, and like the plot of the movie was told.
Oh, War of the Worlds? Yeah. War of the Worlds
It
was
it
freaking
was
awesome.
told as like a radio
Yeah.
broadcast in like the 50s.
Yeah,
And
they
the
like told those stories.
And
Yeah.
the dude just let the story play, and people were like panicking because they thought it was real.
They thought it was real. I know.
So
Yeah.
our head person in charge in school every Halloween, he would let that play on repeat for like the entire day, and just like let's just relive a piece of radio history, and then
Yeah.
it became a book, and then the movie, which I went and saw it like 3 times back in the day. Great film.
Yeah, Aaron, Chris, if you guys can chime in on who John Hannon is, I can't. I don't know who that is. I know as soon as you guys say a movie, I'm gonna know who it is. But yeah, help me out. Okay, so for me, my number one. This was pretty easy for me. Mr. Tim Burton.
I was gonna say Quentin
Mr. Tim
Tarantino.
Burton. Tarantino is in my top 5. He's easily in my top 5. Tim Burton is my favorite director of all time. I understand why people wouldn't like him. I get it.
Yeah, if that's not your type of thing, you won't like a Tim Burton film. But
Yeah, I totally get it. Like, there's a lot of people who don't like Tim Burton films. I get it. I understand why you don't like it. But like I said, I love the dark stuff. I like that kind of gothy punk feel. And every one of his movies, I mean, in my opinion, are awesome. Beetlejuice, the original OG Michael Keaton Beetlejuice. Please tell me you've seen that.
I've seen the OG Beetlejuice.
Oh, man.
I think that movie like
Amazing.
inspired the cartoon that came out afterwards.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
We had the OG Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger as the bad guy Batman.
No, this is the different Batman.
Is that?
Yeah, this is a different Batman.
Oh,
So this
which
Batman,
is that?
that is the George Clooney Batman.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
No, this is the Michael Keaton versus Jack Nicholson Batman. This is where Batman versus the original Joker. Well, he's actually not the original Joker, but a lot of people say Jack Nicholson was one of the best before Heath Ledger as Joker.
Got you.
But yeah,
I know there's been a lot of what was it? One of my favorite, Eric Spears. He said he was in. I don't know if you ever watch Vlad TV. He does like a lot of like interviews with like people in the kind of like the hip hop culture. He's like, have you looked at modern day rappers? You guys all look like Tim Burton Batman villains these days. And I thought that was like the most accurate comparison I have heard recently. So that is why I've always that always whenever I hear Tim Burton Batman, I think of that. Those movies were
yeah.
good. What else? I never
So-
saw Edward Scissorhands.
you never saw Edward, dude. Oh my gosh!
Every time
Oh
it
my
came on
gosh.
HBO, I caught like the last 20 minutes.
What?
I know it's like a cultural phenom, and I just never got to
What
it.
are you doing with your life, dude? You need to, like, as soon as we get off this screen, you need to go watch it.
I did see Planet of the Apes.
It's incredible. Planet of the Apes. No. That's the new one. That's
Yeah.
the new Planet of the Apes.
I'm talking about the 2001.
So Mars Attacks. Did you ever see Mars Attacks?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Did you?
I've seen that one. I've seen Mars Attacks.
With the brain guns?
Yeah.
They had the brain. Dude, I love
I
Mars
always thought,
Attacks.
like,
That
as
was
a-
one of my favorite
As
movies.
a kid, I always thought that was goofy. Like, I was never like scared of that film.
Sleepy Hollow, another one of my favorite movies. Johnny Depp is in that one. That was kind of like the movie that started the Johnny Depp Tim Burton tandem. So it was really cool. I skipped one. No, Batman Returns. No, I didn't. So then he goes through this phase. Oh, let me back up real quick. So another reason why I love Tim Burton, and this is like a little fan history. He was supposed to originally direct a Superman movie.
Okay.
Back in, I believe it was 97. And the guy who was supposed to be Superman, Nicolas Cage.
Really?
Nicolas Cage was supposed to be Superman. Yeah.
I can't see it.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't. At all.
You can go on YouTube right now and just search Tim Burton Superman. Just search that, and it'll pop up. And there's behind-the-scenes footage of Nicolas Cage in a Superman suit, trying it on, feeling it out. It's interesting. That's all I can say. It's a interesting situation. You kind of scroll up. He has this phase where he does these like kid dark films. You have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. A lot of people didn't like that one. I
thought it was decent.
I was indifferent about it.
I watched the first. That was like the beginning of that era of reboots.
Yeah, it was
that were renamed.
Yeah.
Before we just started going and just doing like shot for shot remakes.
He did Big Fish, awesome movie. Big Fish is an awesome movie.
What was Big Fish about again?
I can't describe it to you, dude. You just gotta watch.
I know,
like it's just a movie
saw
you
it.
can't really describe.
I know I saw it, and I just, as a kid, I just didn't understand it. I feel like I remember that. That's not the one where the dude is like, there's like a giant or something weird in it, right?
So
and they get like separated in the woods or something later on in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I haven't seen it in a while,
I remember
so
the
I can't.
movie. I just remember as a kid, I'm like, I know I'm young and I'm not fully grasping what's happening, but as far as like the movie, I've seen it start to finish.
You kind of move on from that one. Corpse Bride was an animated movie. Oh, great freaking movie.
Is there a theory that like all those movies are connected, like the animated Tim Burtons?
Yeah, I think
like
so.
Corpse Bride and all those other movies are like somewhat linked. I like Corpse Bride.
It's such a good movie. Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, is one of my top 5 favorite movies. If you don't know what this movie is, or if you haven't seen it, first off, it's gory. It's very gory.
Yeah,
I mean, in the title, it pretty much gives it away.
Seen the
But
play,
it's
haven't seen
such
the
a cool
movie.
movie. Such a fun movie. Alice in Wonderland, the new one, the live action. I love that movie. A lot of people didn't like that one. I actually really
like
enjoyed
it.
it.
They have video games based on that, like that version of the story, and they are dark. Like they are some creepy.
They're
like,
pretty dark, man. I love his creatures, though. I like his version of him. He comes out with this animated movie, Frank Weenie.
Yeah, Frankenweenie was great.
That was a fun
that
movie.
Was fun for a
I
kid's
really,
film.
really enjoyed it.
I think there's like a theory that dog becomes like Zero or something.
I haven't seen this yet, but Dumbo, the new movie,
I didn't either.
he saw it. I'm probably not going to see it because I don't feel like I can handle
Dumbo
it.
was one of the few Disney films I missed because I didn't have the VHS growing up. That and Pocahontas I never saw start to finish. Is it?
So,
Like I still do not fully 100% understand the plot.
so I have to explain something also. Tim Burton, he does direct, but he also is well known for producing films as well. And he's got a long list that he didn't direct, but he's a part of. The Nightmare Before Christmas, he actually didn't direct it. He produced that one. You have the next one that you probably noticed, Batman Forever. That was the
was a good
original. James and the Giant Peach
Peach.
was a good movie. It was another animated one. Lost in Oz was a TV movie. It was actually really cool. It was based on The Wizard of Oz, but it was a TV movie, and it gets kind of weird.
Nine was a fantastic ass film.
Nine was cool.
Like I saw that one and I went and found the DVD immediately. Like
Nine was cool.
The concept of that, like if you watch like Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix, I think you'll like Nine.
Yeah,
like
Nine was
it's
cool.
almost like that type of post-apocalyptic thing where life is supposed to come back to the planet, and like the way he goes about it in the film is just
Yeah.
And then Elijah Wood in it also on top of the hype he had coming out of his movies. So
Yeah.
I think everyone in that movie did a great job for me. I have no gripes with it. That was like one of those films that's supposed to be scary as a kid, but it had my attention the whole time.
So yeah, that's my favorite director. Let's move on to actors and actresses.
Okay. So
You started. I'll start this
yeah,
time.
go ahead.
Yeah,
start
you want me to go
with
first this time?
Your bottom
Okay.
3.
So my third, because I like Tim Burton, it's pretty obvious why I would like this person, Helena Bonham Carter. What did I say? Bonham Carter. I can't pronounce her middle name, but if you don't know who she is, she's basically the Wicked Witch in Harry Potter.
Okay.
I forget her name. I don't remember her name. Do you remember it? This is the best way I can describe her. She's like literally the poster child of Wicked Witch in that movie. She's also in what's that more recent movie that we just watched? She was in Ocean's 8. She was the fashion designer. She's in so many movies, guys. Oh, Fight Club. That's the one I was trying to think of. Fight Club. She's the love interest in Fight Club. She's the girl love interest in Fight Club who's always confused.
I didn't see Fight Club.
She was in. She was. Yeah.
I was a kid when Time Warner came with that free cable package. I was in Cartoon Network Heavy and then HBO Family.
Bellatrix. That's her name. Bellatrix.
Strange.
Yeah, I couldn't remember her name. And Alice in Wonderland, she's the Red Queen.
Okay, her.
With the big head.
Okay,
with the big head.
I do remember her.
That's her. I love her, man. She's an awesome actress. She's in Magnificent Seven. She's the Corpse's Bride. She's the voice for Corpse's Bride. She's in Big Fish. I mean, her and Tim Burton and Johnny Depp, they all do stuff together because they just make gold, man. She was in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, there are some people, if you just put them together on screen, it will just make magic happen. The script or the plot can be garbage, but people will go see it for those two.
Yeah. I mean, dude, she was in everything he made. Planet of the Apes. If you watch Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events, she was in that. With the one with Jim Carrey in 2004. But yeah, she's in tons of stuff. Awesome stuff. So, your turn.
I just want to give 2 honorable mentions. So, top 5, 5th one, Sandra Bullock.
She almost made
People
my
didn't
list.
like Bird Box, but she sold the film for me as far as like how weird and crazy it was. Loved her in Blindside. And then all her crazy adventure movies are great. And last honorable mention, 4th place, goes to Cree Summer. For those who don't know who Cree Summer is, she was basically your entire childhood. Cree was Susie in the Rugrats. She was Cleo in the Clifford the Big Red Dog. She was the princess in Atlantis, which, for God's sakes, Disney, if there's any movie you were going to make a live action out of, that one. Keep her. She was Susie in All Grown Up. She was number 5 and her sister in Codename Kid Next Door. She was Foxy Love in Drawn Together. She was Elmira in Tiny Toons in the entire Looney Tunes universe. She was the little girl in Inspector. She has like 1,000 voice acting roles, and she's just in everything. Like, if you can name something, she most likely has had a part in it in your childhood, or had a small guest role, or was a background person, and she still gets work like to this day. But my third one, as far as who my top 3 actors and actresses, Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like,
Going with the youngins.
Like, starting off, for those of you who haven't seen, who don't know how long, like, he didn't just blow up off Black Panther and Creed and Fruitvale. Michael B. Jordan's been in this game since like 2000.
Yeah, he's been around for a while.
Like, if anyone's seen Hardball,
he was in that.
yeah, the Get Up G Baby, the one shaking his little brother after he got shot, that was Michael B. Jordan. Like, I had to go back and look, and I'm like, and he won me back with Fruitvale Station. That's when I really recognized him as who he was. The story of the dude who got killed in the train station.
Oh man, G Baby was so sad.
Dude, that was like, because I was like 6 when it
I
happened.
know.
I was like the same age. Oh yeah, he was also the dude in Chronicle, I think.
Yeah, he was in that. Yeah.
Chronicle, which came out on my birthday, great film. I wish they would do like a sequel or universe around that. And then of course you got Black Panther, Creed 1 and 2, Fantastic Four, Fahrenheit 451, Red Tails. So Michael B. Jordan he's also said he wants to take on roles that are not really made for people like in his demographic or who take on the normal movies he does. Like, he wants to do the most weirdest out there things now in his career. So I'm excited to see what movies he brings in the future.
Man.
Also, as someone who didn't see all the Rockies, like I saw the first one, and I think whichever one Mr. T was in, I saw those. And then I saw they were like doing a reboot. And I was like, okay, this will be interesting. And I like loved the first and second Creed.
Well, I didn't see the second one. The first one was really good, though. I did enjoy it.
I didn't expect Rocky to be in it.
Dude, I'm pulling up the picture. Can you tell which one it is? Which one?
Zoom in. I'm blanking.
I can't tell which one he is.
I'm struggling from this photo.
Sorry, we pulled up the hardball photo
Hold on,
of the whole team.
Hardball.
I think it's him. I'm pretty sure it's the one in the middle.
I'm trying to. It's all group pictures.
Yeah, I'm like 100% sure it's the one in the middle. So he would be the one in the back.
Is it?
No, not that one. Never mind. He's not in that one.
This is.
That's him.
Like if you watch the movie, I think that is.
I'm
But
pretty sure
if
it's
you
him.
watch the movie, you see his face. You're like,
Yeah.
that's young Michael B. Jordan. I can't believe it.
Yeah. Wow.
All
It's
right.
like, oh wow, it's so crazy to look at.
All right, time
All
to-
right.
who's your
So
number two?
my next one. Oh man, it's such a toss up. And you know what? You did an honorable mention. I got to say one too. Mark Hamill
Yes,
is one of my favorite
I did
actors.
not know until I was older. Mark Hamill was the Joker.
He is one of my favorite actors
Like
of all
I
time.
knew him as Luke Scott. I didn't know anything about Mark Hamill's voice
Yeah.
acting career until I saw that they brought him back for the last Batman game
Yeah.
and The Killing Joke. And especially playing bad guys. He does such a phenomenal job, just
Yeah.
playing like those
He's got-
evil, cynical characters. Like if you've ever played the Arkham series for Batman,
Yep,
the
that's
back
him.
and forth in the fact that he's not even there, the back and forth between Batman and Joker in Arkham City,
Kevin Conroy.
or Arkham Knight. That one is insane.
Yeah.
The whole mental torture thing until the very end, and he's even the sad line is like, "I need you." I'm like, that was him as Joker, phenomenal. I want to I might go see Child's Play now because of him.
I mean, I probably won't see it, but yeah, he's
All right, go ahead.
phenomenal. So,
So your number
he's
two.
my honorable mention. My number two, man, it was a toss up between these two, but I'm gonna go with Robert Downey Jr.
Fair enough.
He's one of my favorite actors, but it's not just because he was Iron Man. Like everyone knows, Iron Man is my favorite superhero. Everyone knows this. It's not just that.
wouldn't guess.
Like it's not just that. Like it's yeah. It's also like his actual story. Like him coming through. Oh, that's right. Oh crap. Crap, I totally forgot about that.
Speed.
Yeah, it's very fast. All right. Anyways, he battled through drug addiction, went through all that stuff to get to where he is now.
Right. He basically healed and grew along with Iron Man.
he basically did it. I'm gonna just knock my last one out, and then you can do your last one. You have one?
Yeah, I got one.
Okay. And then, so yeah, Robert Downey Jr., probably one of my favorites. He is one of my favorites. And then my last one, he's already passed away. You brought him up earlier, Mr. Heath Ledger.
Man.
He is forever will be probably my favorite actor. He single-handedly made me enjoy the Joker.
Yeah.
Like,
That
as
was
a character.
probably one of the best on-camera portrayals I've seen until this new one comes out.
Mark Hamill did an excellent job through my childhood to
Yes.
make me attracted to the Joker, but Heath Ledger just sealed it, man. Like forever in my life, I will always love the Joker as a villain. I think he's just one of the greatest, like crazy things in comic book history. So Heath Ledger just did an incredible job of that, and I mean, at the end of the day, man, it's sad to know
Sad
that
to
he
see
had
him
to
go.
go through that, and he wasn't alone. I've listened to podcasts about him as an actor and stuff, and everyone that ever talks about him always said, he was like an adventurer.
Yeah.
He was always a guy who wanted to go do stuff with his life, get out in the world, see things. So I don't want to steal any more of your time. You go.
Top one, Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
I'm
All
a
right.
comedy buff, and the thing is, I grew up it wasn't part of what's fun about going to college is like hanging out with people and seeing what like they consider the classics. I didn't know there was like a whole universe built around like certain movies because like I saw Coming to America, I saw Nutty Professor, so we were watching Coming to America, and the whole scene where he's like, "We're back, Mortimer." My roommate explains, he's like, "You saw the movie?" Right? I was like, "What are you talking about?" Cuts off Coming to America, makes you watch Trading Places. And I'm like, I didn't know this or The Golden Child exists. Like, I had no idea about these plethora Eddie Murphy films. So, like, I'm a huge comedy buff. So, seeing the fact, and then I watched all those movies. I didn't realize he played multiple people. Like, I didn't realize he was the old Jewish guy in the barbershop. And then there's a story of, I forget the actor's name. He was the father in Good Times. He said he's on set, and this old dude comes up to him and is like, what? Who are you? Never heard of you. And starts, like, giving him shit. And he's like, I'm at the point where I'm about to punch this dude. And then he does that famous Eddie Murphy laugh. It was Eddie in costume heckling him for, like, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But he was such that good an actor, no one recognized him until he started, like, being himself.
Yeah.
All right, do you have a top 5 movies of all time?
No. We don't have time for that.
No, I have mine. I'm just going to go through my
Oh, you have yours?
quick. So, because I love movies and I'm an Outcast buff, Idlewild. Movie deserves an Oscar. On top of that, my 4th film, I'm mad I don't have the DVD, Goonies. 3rd one, comedy buff, Bruce Almighty.
That was a good one.
Yes, phenomenal. Harlem Nights, because this was like the cultural comedy
That was
classic.
a great
Everyone
movie,
was in
actually.
this.
I really like that movie.
Space Jam, top one of all time.
Dude, Richard
LeBron
Pryor.
James,
Dude.
if you ruin this, I will never support your career again.
Richard Pryor is
That's the
definitely
thing.
my top
If
8.
they remade it, I want Eddie Murphy to play Richard Pryor. And
Richard
Red
Pryor
Fox
is-
and all
yeah.
those other people.
Richard Pryor is one of my favorite, funniest guys of all time.
R.I.P. Rich. Yeah, and then Grown Ups gets an honorable
Yeah.
mention along with My Baby's Daddy and Beverly Hills Cop.
So, anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stay tuned. We have 60-minute suspension coming right up, right in literally 15 minutes. Don't go too far. We got a couple of cool stories. A 103-year-old woman does something. You got to tune in to find out what she does.
Hey.
But a 103-year-old woman does something, and I guarantee you, you're going to be like, no freaking way. I guarantee you're going to be like, no freaking
60
way.
minute suspension up next.
Coming up next.
Tony, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Toy Story 4 next week.
This is Tafari. I'm Amp. See you guys